For the last 3 decades, this powerhouse vocalist has taken command of just about any genre she's touched, from R&B to jazz to dance. She made a similar mark in the acting world, proving to be able to handle any role she was given. The journey wasn't all sunshine and roses, though. Along the way, she also had to deal with major professional setbacks as well as deep personal conflicts. Canadian singer, songwriter, actress, and record producer Deborah Cox was born on July 13, 1974, in Toronto, Ontario. Her parents are of Afro-Guyanese descent. She grew up the middle child of 3 sisters in a blended family, living in a modest working-class neighborhood. While she has fond memories of her mother and stepfather spending a lot of time with her and her siblings, she said that she still felt some kind of way about her barely existent relationship with her biological father. He and Deborah's mother split when she was just 9 months old. Deborah's mother revealed in her daughter's Unsung episode that he was struggling with his mental health, and since he didn't have any family in Canada to care for him, he opted to go back to Guyana. Music would become Deborah's go-to for peace and solitude. Her mother also sang and played guitar and piano. The family's home was constantly filled with the sounds of blues, jazz, and pop. Deborah began singing at age 3, and a few years later started performing at talent shows and community events, drawing inspiration from artists she saw on TV, including her favorite, Whitney Houston. Fun fact, Deborah admits that since she was incredibly shy singing in the presence of others, she'd resort to doing it in a closet in the dark. Her mother let her know, though, that eventually she'd have to get used to singing in front of an audience. By 12, Deborah scored a deal to sing commercial jingles, and as soon as she entered her teens, she was booking gigs at downtown nightclubs. She was really killing it on stage. School, however, was another story. Throughout her elementary and middle school years, Deborah attended a Catholic school where she was only one of 2 Black students. She says that some of the other students bullied her, singling her out for everything from her race to how skinny she was. Once again, she turned to music, focusing all her energy into perfecting her craft. By the time she reached high school, her talent was in high demand. She landed backup singing gigs with the likes of Michael Bolton, Rod Stewart, and fellow Canadian Celine Dion. By the late 80s, she'd meet session musician Lascelles Stevens, who later became her writing partner. Later still, their professional relationship turned personal. As their relationship blossomed, they began shopping her demo all over the country. Unfortunately, Deborah couldn't land a record deal to save her life. In a 2020 interview with CBC Music, she said, "I had a tremendous amount of support in the community when I was doing the clubs and doing sessions, but they didn't have the infrastructure to be able to take it to the next level. Some of the people that they had already signed were not doing what Lascelles and I were doing." After all that rejection, she decided to try her luck across the border. Right away, she got a completely different reception. As much as she didn't want to leave home, she and Lascelles made the tough decision to pack up and move to Los Angeles. Once there, she received offers from some major players in the industry, namely Benny Medina at Warner Brothers Music and Clive Davis, founder of Arista Records. In 1995, Deborah decided to go with the latter and immediately got to work on her debut album. She dropped the self-titled project that same year. Featuring production from several industry greats, including Dallas Austin and Kenneth Babyface Edmonds, the album became a commercial and critical success, eventually going gold in the US and platinum in Canada. The lead single, Sentimental, gave Deborah her first top 5 hit, coming in at the number 4 position on the Billboard Hot R&B Hip Hop Songs chart.
That's the only time I get sentimental.
The follow-up single, Who Do You Love, attained worldwide success, becoming a top 20 hit in Australia, New Zealand, and the US. The remix also helped the track to reach the top of the Billboard's Dance Club Songs chart. Fun fact, if some of the dancers in the video look familiar, it's because the choreography was courtesy of Tina Landon, Janet Jackson's longtime choreographer. She brought in some of Janet's dancers to be featured. Deborah then contributed the non-album song, Things Just Ain't the Same, to the soundtrack to the 1997 action comedy film Money Talks. A dance remix of the song became her second number 1 hit on the Dance Club Songs chart and would be included on her second album. Just before that happened, Deborah and Lascelles married in 1998. Her sophomore effort, titled One Wish, was released several months later. It featured more up-tempo contemporary R&B and a slew of new producers and personnel to incorporate dance and club music, including Montel Jordan, Anthony Shep Crawford, Rodney Darkchild Jerkins, and DJ Quick. The album went platinum in the US and gold in Canada. The lead single, Nobody's Supposed to Be Here, became Deborah's most successful entry on the Hot 100, peaking at number 2. The song also reached number 1 on the Hot R&B Hip Hop Songs chart, spending a then record-breaking 14 weeks. Fun fact, the track, written by fellow 90s R&B crooner Montel Jordan and R&B and gospel musician, songwriter, and record producer Shep Crawford, was meant for Patti LaBelle. But when she passed on it, it made its way to Deborah. The third single, We Can't Be Friends, a duet with RL from R&B trio Next, put up amazing numbers as well, coming in at number 8 on the Hot 100 and number 1 on the Hot R&B Hip Hop Songs chart. Other singles, It's Over Now and I Never Knew, became chart toppers on the Dance Club Songs chart. Deborah then collaborated with her idol Whitney Houston on her single, Same Script, Different Cast, from the compilation album 2000's Whitney, The Greatest Hits. By this time, Deborah had moved from LA to Florida for a quieter life away from the industry. In 2001, she recorded Absolutely Not for the soundtrack to Dr. Dolittle 2. Once again, she put her special touch on the remix, which became her 6th number 1 hit on the Dance Club Songs chart. While her dance records couldn't be hotter, Deborah's R&B music wasn't getting the love that it once was. None of the R&B singles from her third album, 2002's The Morning After, made any significant dent on the charts. It still, however, became her highest charting album on the Billboard 200 and top R&B hip-hop albums yet, debuting and peaking at number 38 and number 7 respectively. It also produced 2 singles that did top the Dance Club Songs chart, Mr. Lonely and Play Your Part. Deborah's family also grew around this time when she had her first child, a son named Isaiah, in 2003. Also in the first half of the 2000s, Deborah landed several acting roles, including her Broadway debut in the music Aida in 2004. The following year, she released a non-album single titled House Is Not a Home, which topped the Dance Club Songs chart. She also had another child around this time, a daughter named Samaya. Even though Deborah cherished her growing family, something was missing. The yearning for a connection with her biological father that she developed in childhood was still very much present in her. So, in May 2007, she decided to take a trip to Guyana to meet him. She admits that she waited so long to take the step due to his mental health issues, and not wanting to face the truth of what that would do to the fantasy she'd made up in her mind about him. But the moment she arrived, she received nothing but love, and had a very positive experience. Sadly, it would be their only meeting, as he would pass away 3 years later. Deborah's fourth album, Destination Moon, was released by Decca Records in June 2007 and peaked at number 3 on the Billboard Top Jazz Albums. It serves as a tribute album to jazz singer Dinah Washington. Unfortunately, the album flew under the radar of most fans. The very next year, Deborah was back with her 6th effort, The Promise, released through Decca Recording Group, her own independent label. The second single, Beautiful You Are, marked her biggest hit since Nobody's Supposed to Be Here, becoming a top 10 hit in Canada, as well as her 10th chart topper on Billboard's Dance Club Songs chart. In the music video, she proudly shows off her baby bump. She gave birth to her third child, another girl named Kyla, in 2009. Between 2011 and 2017, Deborah released 3 more non-album singles that took the top spot on the Dance Club Songs chart: If It Wasn't for Love, Higher, and Let the World Be Ours Tonight. She took on the daunting task of providing vocals for the made-for-television biographical film, Whitney, based on her friend, Whitney Houston, in 2015, after a special request from director Angela Bassett. The same year, she released the deep house-infused Kinda Miss You, as well as the ballad More Than I Knew as singles. Both were set to appear on her next album, initially announced for release in the summer of 2015. However, after several delays, the album remained unreleased. Deborah hit the theater stage again in 2016, playing the lead role of Josephine Baker in the Broadway-bound musical Josephine, and starring as Rachel Marin in the North American tour of the musical The Bodyguard, based on the 1992 film of the same name. In 2019, she released the single Easy Way. The song was expected to lead her upcoming album, initially expected to drop in late 2020. However, as the making of this video, no album has been released. It was followed by her very first Christmas single, Gimme 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 Some Christmas. In fall 2020, she released 2 more Christmas singles, the original song, I Really Don't Want Much for Christmas, and a rendition of the Eartha Kitt song, Santa Baby. Over the last several years, Deborah has continued to divide her time between her music and acting careers. In 2021, she landed a co-starring role on the BET series First Wives Club and a regular role on the HBO miniseries Station 11. Decades after the Canadian music industry closed its doors to her, Deborah finally got the credit she deserved when she was inducted into the Canadian Music Hall of Fame in 2022, making her the first Black woman to receive the honor in its 44-year history. When asked how she felt about receiving the national honor, knowing that the Canadian industry rejected her when she was first starting out, she told Q with Tom Power podcast, "The resounding message is that you have to believe in yourself. Otherwise, no one else will believe in you, and it's that simple. I knew that I had something to offer, and it was just a matter of time before somebody was going to recognize it. And it's beautiful that the Canadian Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences has recognized that, and I'm still here, which is awesome." Deborah was also given the key to the city of Toronto, and September 23rd declared Deborah Cox Day. Lastly, she received a star on Canada's Walk of Fame, rounding off an incredible year. In 2023, she launched her rosé and blanc wine brand, Kazasu, named after her children. She also starred as Glinda in a U.S. revival of The Wiz. The national tour served as a warm-up for the 2024 Broadway opening, which Deborah also starred in. She's set to return in 2025. Deborah's already got the new year started off right, showing off her unwavering talent and how in demand she still is, not only with fans, but also her industry peers, when she performed at the 67th Annual Grammy Awards, February 2nd, 2025, kicking off the opening ceremonies.